Hi, and welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Show. My name is Josh Bachynski, and I'll be your host for today. Joining us is two very special guests, Holly Greeny Starks and Ted the Crusher. I had to give you some kind of middle name. Ted the Crusher Kubitis. Say hi, guys. Oh, and I'll mute myself. Hi, every time.
Hello.
Forget to mute myself. There we go. Say hi.
Hey, guys. Hey, what's up?
There. Thank you very much. There we go.
Why can't we?
I can see it's gonna be a lively hangout today. I'm gonna have to fill a lot of dead space with witty banter. Hopefully, I'm feeling witty today. Hopefully, I have as much wit as I have chest hair. There's the first chest hair joke for today. Actually, it's the second one. I already made one. Let's see if I can get to 5 chest hair jokes by the end of today. That's the game for today. So we're very lucky today to have Holly and Ted with us. I usually start with what's new in White Hat SEO, but I thought today I'd start out with what's new in Black Hat SEO. And so in a couple seconds, I'm going to turn things over to Holly to talk a lot about her experiments she's been doing on Black Hat lately. For those of you who don't know, Holly, this demure young lady, is actually an industrial strength Black Hat who crushes people who make fun of her, outranks SEOs in their own city, like a month's time when they piss her off. And is the only person who's allowed to call me a pussy, who doesn't get a punch in the face for that, if I'm in the mood. So Ted, you can call me a pussy too if you really want, because I like you. But so she's going to talk in a couple seconds. Before we get to that, though, I just want to remind everybody that Holly and I are actually putting on a conference. Ted the Crusher Kubitis is going to be there too. It's at the end of August. It's August 27th to 29th. It's called White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Symposium. And we're going to have top-level Black Hats like Holly and others. I saw that, Jeff, on Skype. You're getting a knuckle sandwich next time. No, I'm just kidding, Jeff. I wouldn't do that. And so we're putting on this really good conference. If you want more information about it, I did put the link in the chat and in the description. So that's all the advertisement you'll get for that. But I do highly recommend that you check it out. It's going to change your game. Holly pretty much knows everybody in the Black Hat community, and she's inviting some very top-level Black Hats who never present anywhere. They never talk anywhere. And they're going to be telling us some of their crazy stuff that they do. And Ted's going to be telling us some of the crazy stuff. They're all going to be telling you the crazy stuff that we do, uncensored and unrecorded, so we can tell you the truth and go to the nth degree as to what's going on. So if you want to spend some time in a beautiful city and have a bit of a party and learn some really good SEO stuff, look at our conference at the end of August of this year. So with that being said, with that proviso being said, we might be joined a little bit later by Chase, my co-host. I don't know. He's a millennial. I texted him. He might show up. He might not. You never know. He could be shopping at Whole Foods, looking for more SEO tricks. Who knows what's going on? So I guess I'll turn it over to Holly. So this is I'll give you a bit of a preamble, Holly. So as a lot of people know, Google's been changing their algorithms. It's not 2010 anymore. And they're really trying to include user metrics into their algorithms. They vehemently deny it. They deny it all the time. If you go onto John Mueller's Hangout and you ask him, hey, John, do you guys track clicks for rankings? He's going to say no. He's going to say, no, we don't. 1, because he'll get fired if he says anything else. 2, because they don't want to tell you. They're not here to help you. They don't want to tell you what the ranking factors are. The only ranking factors he will admit to are content and links, because everybody already knows this already. But if you listen to him and you learn how he talks, and if you happen to have private leaks from John Mueller, such as I do, in private hangouts that I get to join, oh, great, we're joined by Clint, too. Clint today is wearing a gray hat. I mean, I guess it means he's a gray hat SEO today. How you doing, Clint?
Just today, though.
Just today. Clint is another one of these awesome Black Hat SEOs that we associate with, who also does gray hat and white hat and everything in between. So as I was saying, you can go to John Mueller's Hangouts. You can ask them point blank what the ranking factors are, but he's not obliged to tell you. You'll only get a straight and honest answer out of John Mueller the more you pull in his heartstrings. And I've noticed if you go on there and whine and complain, especially if you're a young-looking, good-looking lady, it helps to pull on his heartstrings. It's, oh, John, my website, please help me. And he'll help you a little bit more. And he's a good guy, don't get me wrong, but he's in a tough spot. He can't release the ranking algorithms. But we know that they're using user metrics because of our tests. We know that they're using user metrics because of the extra stuff he says on the side. If you could put 2 and 2 together and read between the lines, you can learn kind of what the ranking factors are and what's going on. And so, but of course, to be a good SEO scientist, you have to test this kind of stuff. And so we've been running extensive tests in the Search Intelligence Agency group. If you want more information about the Search Intelligence Agency group, which everybody here is a member, We do a single variable experiments, a very serious experiments on what the actual SEO ranking factors. Does negative SEO really exist? Does the disavow file really work? How important is keyword density? All these kinds of tests, we do them, including click-through rate tests. So what is a click-through rate test? Well, in general, usually it's someone doing a search in the Google SERP. They click on the result. So they do a search in the search engine, they click on a result, and we'll see if that result goes up or down if we try and throw lots of traffic at it. There's been plenty of programs and services out there that purport to do this, like crowdsearch.me, for example. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that. Or Rainmaker is another example. In my personal experience, I haven't had any good experience with these programs. That's just me. I have not seen any positive tests or had any good experience with these. You guys, please feel free to jump in if you disagree.
Well, I'm excited to hear about this test because for years I've been writing click-through rate bots, and I program at a fairly sophisticated level. So I do all the human emulation. I rotate the proxies.
Right.
I move the mouse over the various targets in the human emulation. I do all that stuff. And it never works in bot form. Like, I know it works and when you crowdsource the clicks, and I've seen the end studies, and including RANDs and SIAs, and it all works in crowdsourcing, but it never seems to work as a program bot. And so I'm definitely interested in this topic, and I sometimes feel like we don't truly understand something until we can automate it. And so I'm trying to bridge that gap between the crowdsource, which we see works and we're fairly confident is a thing, and the bots, which tend to don't work at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's changed over the years. I mean, it used to be easier. I started testing this 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. It used to be easier to do. Rand Fishkin from Moz that you mentioned had an easier time doing it. He would just go to a conference and say, "Hey guys," there'll be 1,000 people in the audience. He'd say, "Hey guys, take out your phones and click on this tweet for me, or do this search and click on this result." And he would see the results within hours. And he would then, unfortunately, he would tell Google, "Hey guys, click-through rate's not supposed to be a ranking factor, but I did this test." And Google goes, "Okay." And they shore up their algorithms, right? So thanks, Rand, I guess. He's not even in SEO anymore, so who cares what he says or does? But so anyway, so I'm going to turn it over to Holly. Holly has been running some tests in click-through rate manipulation, and we've been seeing some results. And so I'd love to turn it over to Holly. And Holly, tell us, what have you been working on and what have you been seeing?
So we've been testing a couple different platforms. So I want to touch base on the crowdsearch.me first. I have not done any new testing on that over the last 3 years. I know SIA is coming out with a new test. When I used it for negative SEO. It worked great for negative SEO. I could send direct traffic. In fact, it bombed my own videos. That's how bad it worked. So it's good for negative SEO, but I don't think that it actually will pop a video or Google.
Right.
It's a bot. And it's proxies that are not going to be passed by Google. So, I don't know what the new tests are going to show. I'm hoping that they'll show something that will be able to work. Like if you send them through a PBN blog or a profile and then click on the link, send the traffic through a buffer, maybe it'll work. I don't have a lot of faith though.
Right. So we're talking about 2 different things. Sorry, Holly. So the first thing you're talking about is having CrowdSearch just do a navigational search to Google and clicking on a result, or trying to click on a result in Google and go into your videos, and you're actually negative SEOing your own videos. And so you found it's only useful for negative SEO.
As soon as I turn it off, the result will come back for like a week, and then it totally disappears. It's gone.
Mm.
So if I wanted someone out of the way, I would run crowdsearch.me.
Okay.
But the
but the second thing you're talking about, just to make sure everyone understands who's listening, is the second thing you're testing is, well, what about if we route the traffic through our backlinks? And so we put the traffic to a backlink page, click the link, and go to your money site and see if that traffic through the link gives some kind of a boost, either through verifying the link's veracity because of the traffic, or just straight traffic or something like that. We've also tested straight traffic to a page, and we didn't get any results with that either.
Yeah, we got 0 results with that. So if you're sending it through a buffer, I think what Google is doing is cleaning those proxies to say, hey, this is a real person, or this is an IP that's going to pass Google. So yes, this is a true one. So we'll send this view through, or send this. Actually, very interesting to see the analytics of how a website sees it and how YouTube sees it, because it's not the same. Which, you know, YouTube is still like 2012, where Google is more advanced on it.
Of
but
course.
I do think you can send it through like a PBN and not use your main keywords. But if you're sending it that way, I mean, good God, it's going to take forever. You might as well just do it the way that I'm going to tell you to do it. And the way that is actually working is going to micro workers, or going to places that you can get a good number of searches in a 3 to 4 day span. And I don't mean like thousands of searches. I mean like between 30 and 40 searches in a 24-hour period. So, you know, there's Facebook groups. You can post it on Facebook. You can post it on YouTube. Hey, check this page out or whatever. Or you can set up campaigns on micro workers. And micro workers, on every test that I've run, is by far the #1 thing that is working for CTR, because it's real IPs, it's real people. I'm having them like the video. I'm having them put a comment in. They're watching the whole video. I know that they're not actually watching the whole video now, because in reality, people lie and say we're watching the whole video. They're only going to watch 10 seconds. The next person's going to watch 20. So I think by having different things like that, that's actually helping the video make more legit, where a program is set to watch the whole video. So obviously they know that's not real, in my opinion at least. So I'm spending about $12.50 for one campaign to rank one video, which has 5 to 10 keywords on micro workers. It equals out to be about 30 views. If I want to set up to 60, then it's like $22.50. And so I'll send 30 to 50 views every day for 4 or 5 days. I'll shut it off a couple days, and then I'll send them again. It's taking about, it can take like 7 to 12 days for a video to pop. The website is a little bit different. So we're testing websites on micro workers. It's taking a lot longer. It's taking almost 30 days. We're sending the same amount. It's costing the same amount. We're asking people to stay on the site between 2 and 5 minutes, and we put like a hot jar on it so that we can see what they're doing. And if they're clicking, I ask people to scroll down to copy things. We want them to click twice, that kind of thing. So it's taking maybe 30 days. But it's still, it's not like, the position's number 50 and it goes to 45. It's not like that. It's like the position started at 50 and now it's page 1.
Okay,
or
so
like
5
the YouTube
pages,
video.
30 days, and you get 5-page increase on a website.
Yeah, and on video, I mean, across the board, it doesn't matter. I've done some really competitive niches, really super competitive niches that are like affiliate heavy, and we've gone from I've searched it and it's been page 25, and it hit number 3 in almost 4 days. So it was just 4 days and the test worked. Micro workers, there's no question that it works, and there's no question that CTR is the way to go. These have no links on them. They have no embeds on them. They have no IFTs on them. They're brand new accounts. I literally uploaded it, went to find it where it was at in YouTube and where it was in Google, wrote it down, made my ad, told them, screenshots and stuff like that, what I wanted them to do. 5 days later.
Is this just YouTube videos, or did you experiment with websites as well?
So the websites are taking 30 days, but it still works the same way. It still is very huge jumps, page 5 to page 1 with micro workers.
So that's interesting. So that seems to be verifying that click-through rate, of course, is a ranking factor. Now, the interesting thing is that Matt Cutts, for those of you who don't know, Matt Cutts used to be the head of search spam at Google for many, many years. And he was asked the question, you know, what if we use micro workers to boost our click-through rate? And he laughed. He literally laughed out loud and said, yeah, micro workers, yeah, we can detect that. We're all over that. Do you think that was a bluff on his part, or do you think that micro workers just has so many different people coming into it so often, it's very difficult for them to police all those IP addresses?
Well, how could they tell? How could they tell a micro worker apart from normal browsers?
Well, I know I've tried this with like Filipino or Indian traffic, and it's never worked for a US ranking.
But I'm picking Western traffic. So is the United States, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada.
Right.
So I'm not picking you. If they're the Philippines, they can't do it. The other thing that everyone's going to say is proxies don't work. The line of shit, because we tested it. Someone in the SIA group, I gave him a keyword that no micro workers did, that it wasn't even a video in there. He did a set of, I believe it was a set of 11 proxies one day. 2 days later, he did the same 11 proxies. So maybe it was like the return view that did it, but it still went from like number 75 to it's like number 6. It was a longer test. It took longer, and the views in the analytics of YouTube did not show up, and almost 72 hours later.
See,
and then the views showed up.
That's really interesting to me, because that kind of hints at repeat visitation. And I've long suspected that repeat visitation might be one way to make a traffic-based factor where Google is being honest about click-through rate not being a factor. If repeat visitation is the thing, then a lot of click-through rate bots, especially the ones I've written in the past, would fail. They'd have the worst possible repeat visitation score. But when you crowdsource and you get human beings who don't clear their cookies, they actually add to your repeat visitation over time. And so that could be a clue.
It could be. And John Mueller has pretty much point blank said that repeat visitors is a good thing to look at if you're having ranking problems. He might be serious.
Because they're, you know, like I'll set up 2 different campaigns sometimes. One is a like and comment and a view, and the next one is just a watch. And I know I'm getting repeat people. But I mean, I think it all works if you have real people. The proxies are private proxies that are residential IPs, right, and they pass Google. So the next test we're working right now is the Zenoposter test. And we're testing, you know, if you don't know what Zenoposter is, it's a program that does iMacros. So we set the program to go and search and click and watch, but it's not commenting, it's not liking. My video has gone from the 4th page to the 3rd page. The views are coming in like really, really slow, even though I've sent like 120 views over how many days. It's not moving as fast as like micro workers is. And the proxies I'm using are rotating proxies. And we're also checking it on a website. The website has not moved at all. We started maybe, I want to say about a week ago. We've sent about 100 visits. On the analytics, it shows a huge jump in traffic. It shows as legitimate traffic, but the ranking wise, it's not moving, which is what we're expecting. So kind of expect that test to close up in maybe 2 weeks.
So that's interesting, Holly. So what's the bottom line? Is this ready to go into the wild? Are we ready to say that click-through rate is a ranking factor, or we think it's repeat visitors, or where are we at?
I think I think CTR with microworkers is the number one CTR right now. And then I would pretty confidently say that repeat visitors is a ranking factor.
That's definitely something we should test outside of CTR. So that would be easy enough to test on any of my test servers. If anybody listening wants to help us test this, let me know. It would be good to have real people do it. Go to a page and then go back to a page and see how many times you have to go back to a page until suddenly it goes up above the other pages.
Yeah, and if you have dirty proxies, that's not going to work. So your proxies have to be clean, Google proof. They can't be already spam. They have to can be residential, like I said, or a real IP. Two big things.
Yeah. What if you just do a real IP? I guess just get real people who, like 12,000 people follow me, 26,000 on Twitter. Just try and get a couple hundred people out of that. Just going to a page and see what happens.
Yeah, if you're using shared proxies, I guarantee your click-through rate bot will fail.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's why that one we're kind of like, we don't really know what's going on with that one.
That's interesting. Okay, so let's go to some questions that people have been asking about this. So Skylands asked, is Google smart enough to discount bot traffic so it doesn't affect website quality score? Or is bot traffic an effective negative SEO tactic that webmasters must vehemently defend against? I guess the answer is both, right? Well,
is that bot as in paid for or bot as in robot?
Bot as in robot, B-O-T.
So I think Google can detect a fair amount of it, but like Holly was saying, if you have enough dispersed human beings doing it, then how can they tell? And if you have really clean proxies that aren't detectable as proxies, then how can they tell? You gotta be sure that if you're doing proxies, that your network hygiene is really clean. You're clearing your cookies. You're making sure you're not falling prey to canvas fingerprinting and those types of things.
Clint, did you want to join in?
I had actually tested on someone I don't like. I tested on their site and I sent fake traffic with burned proxies that I know are burned because we're using them to index stuff, and sent it direct to the site, and it didn't do anything. And we sent 50,000 visitors in a day to them, so it didn't hurt the site or change anything in their ranking status. So
yeah, it's interesting. I think if crowdsearch.me has any negative SEO, I think it's because they were so aggressive in advertising it, and they've been around for years, for like at least 4 years. I think Google caught wind of them, and I think they've made, in their elitism and in their overzealousness to punish black hats, I think they've made a crowdsearch.me penalty, I think. And when they detect that kind of traffic or detect that kind of signature, I don't think they realize that we're smart enough to just, okay, if it's going to be a penalty, then I'll start pointing out my competitors. So,
well, I also have a theory that all the main proxy providers, all the big ones and all the services, Google would just be foolish to not be secret subscribers to those, because they need to know all of those to stop the click fraud on the AdWords side. So I'd bet their knowledge of paid proxy IP ranges is probably the best in the world, just for the AdWords fraud prevention.
No doubt. So let's talk about the ethics of that a little bit. So, I mean, again, this is a white hat versus black hat kind of debate show. So if you're starting to point, does it make sense to spend the money and time to pay? I don't even know how much crowdsource.me is. I can't imagine crowdsearch is much. How much, do you guys know how much it is?
It's not that expensive. Probably $97 will send you 10,000 visitors.
So is it worth the spending the $100 a month to send a bunch of crap traffic at a competitor, and then they start playing dirty and do the same thing against you? Or
I guess if you're a douche and your SEO sucks, then sure, yeah.
there you go. I like Clint's answer. If you're a douche and you can't do really real SEO, then go ahead and start doing negative SEO. That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
But
I don't know, Holly, do you agree with that? I see a wicked grin on your face.
I I think there's better ways to do negative SEO than test the crowd search because it might backfire on you. I was, you know what? I'm always a big person on testing someone else's site, which is like 8 pages in, and they're not getting traffic anyway. So who really cares if you destroy it?
Yeah, yeah.
I would send it like that. See what happens, and if it goes up, you don't send it to your competition.
Yeah, and if you're number 12 and you negative SEO number 6 down to number 8, I mean, you just basically lost $100 and gained nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And possibly piss them off so everyone decides to start negative SEOing each other on that SERP and really make things toxic.
Yeah, if they notice at all, they'll probably think it's Google Dance, and when you stop paying for bad traffic, they'll probably rebound for the reasons they were at their rank to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on what the negative SEO is, but usually it's pretty hard not to miss. I mean, Clint, we did that test. You pointed 100,000 GSA links at my test page, and you did negative SEO it for a week, and you blew out all the other pages on that SERP. But the one page you pointed links to came back after a week strong. It's been ranking #1 for over a month.
But a week is a legitimate result. It all depends on what week. If you get an online retailer right before Black Friday,
exactly,
mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a real result in my book.
Oh, for sure. But my point is that I can see those links, right? I can detect that happening, and I can start making educated guesses as to who did this, and then the whole SERP just starts getting blanketed with GSA links all over the place, and just wash it. It's just a wash at that point, right? Or sending traffic to a site, you can see the traffic, and you can see that it's not doing good stuff for your bounce rate or whatever, and you could really start freaking out. And there could be consequences.
Yeah, if you're doing the right things, you're going to have tools in place to monitor new links, new traffic spikes, all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to see most of the things that we do right off the bat. But like Holly said, there's other things that you can do you wouldn't even spot until it was too late. So,
well, the best detector for negative SEO is revenue reporting. If you attribute your organic revenue and you're looking at it all the time, you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll notice there's a problem, yeah. So do you want to give us a hint as to what some of these nasty negative SEO things are that you wouldn't notice in time?
Well, you can be a complete dick, buy 10 expired domains and just save those in your pocket for when someone makes you mad, and just run GSA
301
your lists off of those. And,
well,
when you're ready, redirect those right to that site.
There's another test we should do.
You can double the damage on those if you put them up somewhere on some cheap host, and you sign them up for every bot-related service there is. Get 1,000 bots going on each one, because then it's a denial of service when you redirect those domains. All that bot traffic hits one website.
Right. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. Do an inadvertent DNS DOS denial of service attack.
Well, it's easy to do if you follow the cache. Google essentially tells you how often they're going back to that page. So you follow that for a couple of weeks, notice the pattern, and then hit that at the right time before and after that set date that Google's going back and recrawling that page. You can take their site down.
And that's how the Googlebot interruption attack works. People figure out when Googlebot is likely to be crawling your site. They do a slow loris attack, which uses up your connection pool from your web server by leaving the connections open. That causes your web server to return 500 errors to Googlebot. Googlebot says, oh no, this website doesn't work, and drops you out of the search results until it does work, and they wait to come back. And then finally, when you do come back, you'll find yourself a couple positions lower for a week or two.
Yeah, no, I know you know that very well because you've been watching that happen against you for a number of years now, and you were able to get out of it by buying better servers, as I recall.
Yeah, we got big IP load balancers from F5. We spent $250,000 to thwart that attack.
But that hurt you quite badly. I mean, that's a pretty big negative SEO attack that makes you spend $250,000. I mean, that's going to put a lot of businesses out of business. They wouldn't be able to afford that.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a serious problem. And they were attacking us in Q4 and on Black Friday. They were costing us, 50, 75 grand a month just by knocking our SERPs down, by making sure that we gave Googlebot 500 error responses. So we tried, working with Google. We tried going to experts. At the end of the day, we just had to thwart those feeble, slow LoRa's attacks that were doing the trick.
What about editing your server configuration so that your HTTP daemon doesn't respond with 500 level errors? It only responds with a 404. Or no response at all. So Google will give you a soft 404. And that's not good for your crawl budget, but I don't think Google would give you any kind of penalty or any kind of filter for that.
That would be pretty hard to configure altogether, and 500 errors do serve a purpose. And it still wouldn't stop the slow LoRa's attack from using up your connection pool.
Right.
So, I mean, there'd still be a lot of problems in that scenario.
And you could still have real people sitting there not being able to access your website.
Yes.
That's even worse.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's the very happy topic of negative SEO. It's very positive and happy.
Yeah, but it's not just all spammy backlinks. There's a lot of ways people can cripple you.
Oh, of course. We haven't got into URL parameter spam. We haven't got into hacking the robot's text. Yeah. We haven't got into hacking their WordPress. We haven't got into any of those kinds of things. PHP injections in their WordPress or their crappy content management system. We haven't got into any of that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Most of that crap's technically illegal. It's technically hacking, but people in Russia are doing it. If they can hack elections, they can hack websites, right? So let's go to some more questions from our lovely listeners, to which we have around 50 now. Blake asks, and this is a totally different topic. He asks, what do you guys think of Google rich cards with GSC schema markup for knowledge graph? Is it useful in 2017? Google rich cards with the schema markup. I've never played around with it personally. I've tried to manipulate featured snippets. I mean, Eric Lantries, who's also part of our SIA group, he has a course on featured snippets. You can check that out. I've never played with the carousel. I've never played with any kind of the markup that goes up there, other than site links, which have been around for years, and again the featured snippet. What about you guys?
I say everything's useful as long as it's bringing you traffic. If it's not bringing you traffic anymore, then move on to something else.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm a fan of cutting edge features, and I have a theory on why they're beneficial in Google. Way back when iPhones just came out and the Apple Touch icon HTML was a new thing, we added it to our stores, and we saw an instant lift in our rankings just by adding the Apple Touch icon, which sounds really like stupid. Why on earth would Google ever tie a tag like that to rankings? And I think what's happening is Google has a training set for web spam, and they use a Bayesian categorizer to give a fuzzy indicator between 0 and 1 of how similar to their spam set is a page.
Right.
And every little thing you do that's not in their spam training set makes you different and helps you be less spammy.
Indeed, yeah.
And so while nobody was using the Apple Touch icon, it gave a boost. Then when everybody was using the Apple Touch icon, it stopped having benefit.
Right.
And so I think new cutting edge things help. We saw the same pattern when HTML5 came out. We saw the same pattern when schema markup came out.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to me that everything you can do to make yourself different than their legacy web spam training set is just going to help you.
Okay, so let me this is actually quite brilliant what you're talking about now. I'm not sure everyone listening realizes how brilliant this is, so I'm going to break it down a bit. And if I get it wrong, please let me know. So basically, you're saying that Google has put out patents, because they have, and talked about at conferences, because they have, and with your extensive knowledge of programming, you know how they could do this and that they would do this. That they can set up certain machine learning programs that will use what's called a Bayesian filter, which is the same filter they've been using in email spam programs for years. That if you have this, you only have a score of this, but you have this and this and this, you go over a threshold and they call you spam, right? So they can check out your website and all the parameters, and they can machine learn from, I don't know, the disavow file or sites that are submitted to the web spam submission form in Google. They can machine learn the parameters, all the parameters they can see of that site. They don't care what it is, whether you're using HTML3 or 4 or 5 or you're on WordPress or not. And they get a picture of what a spam site is. And then they compare every other site to the spam site. And however close to that you are, you might get a slight spam filter. This is your hypothesis. Okay, now, I agree. Of course, we've talked about this quite a bit. I agree, and you know I agree. And I would go even one tinfoil hat level higher than that. A few months ago, I put out on my Twitter that when you did a search for my name, under the related searchers, it was Josh Bachynski TED Talk, Josh Bachynski Martial Arts, and then it was Search Console. Apparently, I'm related to Search Console for some reason. Now, this seems to be a major mistake. I'm flattered, Google, but I am not synonymous with Search Console. But I think I know the reason why is because I get lazy, and I do hundreds of audits a year, and I get lazy, and I just type in Search Console into my URL bar, and I just click it when it comes up. I bet you dollars to donuts that's where Google got to make me the Josh Bachynski entity semantically related with Search Console. I bet you dollars to donuts that's where it came from. That's the only place I could think. And the patent has been out there, and the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory has been out there for a while, that they will literally track you. If you use Gmail, if you use Android, they will track you and what you're doing and what you talk about. They already do for ads to put on in AdWords and whatnot in their advertising network. They'll get to know if you're an SEO, and they might even get to know if you're a Black Hat SEO. And any websites associated with you, it is conceivable they could add that to their spam filter that we were talking about before and give your site some kind of a filter if it meets that footprint plus your personal footprint as an SEO. What do you guys think about that tinfoil hat theory?
All right, that is a couple extra tinfoil hats.
Yes, it is. I said it was a couple more tinfoil hats. I did say that to start.
Yeah, I've had people say to me, why on earth do you visit Black Hat World? Aren't you worried that Google will track that back to your websites? I personally don't think there's any evidence of it. I rank #1 on so many things, and I'm a frequent visitor to Black Hat World. So I don't think Google is applying reputation between your browsing behaviors and the websites you operate. I don't think they're crossing that line. But, I don't know.
Hard for them to do that.
They could do it. I do believe they could do it, but I don't see any evidence that they are, because I think they would punish the heck out of people like me who want to know how search works. And those Black Hat forums is where primary research happens every day.
I don't know. Google likes to think they're the good guys. And so someone who just goes to Black Hat World and reads about Black Hat SEO, that might not be a cardinal sin for them. But I have apprentices. I take on SEO apprentices every now and then. I have an apprentice in the Philippines. He's a great guy. But I've got him to do 2 things for me outside of the Philippines, and both those things tanked the site. So I'm like, these are things I've done tons of times before. They're supposed to be white hat techniques, and they're not supposed to be dangerous. But when I get my young Filipino friend from the Philippines to do these things, it tanks the site. I'm thinking, is Google watching this guy? Like, is he burned? Like, what's going on with this guy? He's having trouble with his own site in the Philippines too.
Or is he selling Fiverr gigs on the side and you just haven't found out yet?
Well, quite possibly, right? Quite possibly. There could be some Western elitism going on here too. Not to get too political, but he might match a footprint of a low-level spammer more than you might, my friend.
That could be.
Okay, I go to
Holly
Russian
wants to
sites.
disabuse us of all of this stuff. Go, Holly.
I go to Russian sites and Russian possibly hacking sites that teach me a lot of stuff that's underground. And I have no problem ranking my client sites, my own sites, and I don't clear my cookies for many months sometimes. So I don't think that it's that they're tracking us. I would think that the gig or what I think I know what one you were talking about. I don't think that it's that they're tracking you. I think that it could just been luck of the draw. You know what I mean? Or it could have been a Fiverr gig. But the one service you're particularly talking about has been around for probably 3 or 4 years, and that was a good negative SEO type of a service, like back then. So I would still think it is.
So why do you think Google associated my name with the search phrase Search Console?
I mean, you can manipulate the search.
I think you say
easily.
it so much. I think it's because you say it so much. Your primary method
Yeah.
of outreach and reaching the community is video. So they're translating or they're transcribing all of these videos. And I can't remember a video that you've done where you haven't talked about Search Console in one way or another. So
You think so?
I think
That's interesting. I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
think that's where they
maybe
get it.
not this year, but in past years, yeah, you've had a lot of tutorials on how to use Search Console and given a lot of advice about being active in Search Console and
Search Console.
bugs and problems in Search Console.
In Search Console.
It's your
Let's see if we can manipulate it. Everybody say Search Console. Okay, I never thought of that, Clint. I like that a lot. That's interesting. That could be. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I know why it would show. I type in Search Console all the time, so that makes sense to me why it would show up there. But why is that entity related to my entity? You know, in Hummingbird, it doesn't make any sense.
I think
Here's
it's
a
just
question. Could it be a personalized site link just for you because you type it and click it so much? Do you know other people see it?
I guess. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, do other people see it? Then it would be an entity thing. You're absolutely right. It could just be personalization. I don't know why it would show up on my name. I don't search my name that often, but I do search Console on a daily basis. So
somehow I see you changing your name all the time.
Yeah, come on, Josh. We know you Google yourself.
okay, well, maybe once or twice a day, just to see if all the haters are still hating on me, you know. Okay, so it's like Trump saying he doesn't watch the news, and I say I don't search myself, right? Sure you don't. Okay, so the Calgary Painter asks. So here's a good question for you, Black Hats. The Calgary Painter asks, how can I compete with businesses who use PBNs and are rewarded for their efforts with page 1 organic rankings? I'm getting impatient moving slowly up the ranks to page 4. Isn't it worth the risk?
Depends what you have to lose.
Right.
For the large online retailers that I do SEO for, it's simply not worth the risk. There's way too much. They have in organic revenue, they have millions of dollars of revenue coming from organic search, and it's just not worth gambling with it. So if you have nothing to lose and you're about to go bankrupt, then by all means, consider the options. But if it is healthy and strong and growing, and you just need to do more or better marketing to get to the next level, then maybe don't gamble.
What do you guys think?
I use PBNs as a last resort, because everything else that I'm doing is not working, or I've gotten to, let's say I'm in the top 5 and I need that extra kick in the ass to get up there, right into the top 3. That's when I use PBNs. I think you'll find though nowadays it takes significantly less than it used to. So people are making these 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 site PBN networks. They don't need to do that anymore. Maybe 1 or 2 is all you need, and you're right up there where you want to be. So in that case, though, if you're going to buy them, make sure that's a trusted provider who's not selling them publicly. Like the guys that I get my PBN links for, you can't find them actively selling them anymore on their networks. So those are the kind of people you want to do. You don't want to go to a forum and buy PBN links off of them, because you're going to that'll get you hit pretty quick. So,
Holly, do you want to jump into this, or should I end it off?
Yeah, I don't really use PBNs. Like my PBNs are my Web 2.0 network because I'm a cheap ass. So I just, I do the Web 2.0 blast CTR now. That should make it pop using both of them.
Yeah, I would say to the Calgary painter, email me if you want a more detailed answer, but this is what I would say. One, you presuppose it's the PBNs that's helping them rank on page 1 to begin with. In my experience, you guys might disagree, but I think quality score is a much bigger ranking factor moving forward. I think it's at least 30% of the algo, if not 50% in some areas, especially local, with the pigeon update. So you presuppose it's the PBNs that's helping them rank to begin with. They just might have a much better site than you do, and maybe they're collecting conversions way better than you are. I would take a look at your own site and see the quality there, and try and, to echo Clint, quite frankly, his great idea is that try to make your own site as SEO awesome as possible before then going, okay, what is everyone else doing? And maybe I should mimic what they're doing or take down what they're doing or stuff like that. Personally, that's what I would say.
There's an SIA test for you. Make 10 pages of differing quality, obvious differences in quality. See how Google ranks them.
Right. That's very similar to something that Rand Fishkin tweeted out today, because I believe they're having MozCon right now, and someone said there, of course, there's no way to tell what the conversion rate of your competitor is. You can eyeball their page and make an educated guess how well they're probably converting, but there's no way to know. And the answer was, well, you could remake their page on your site and then see how well people convert and see if it's better than you. That's one way of doing it. And I thought that's interesting.
That's not a split test, though. That's different traffic.
No, of course not. Well, it's a split test between your old page and the new page that you make.
You should do that all the time anyway. We do that for affiliate stuff. They give us the sales page, and then we'll rip it, and then start doing our own conversion optimization of the traffic that we're sending to it.
Right.
It's just
a smart thing to do.
That's smart business.
Arthur Smirnovs asks, what about sharing Google URL with query to your brand name? Example, google.com query equals my brand. So what about brand searches for click-through rate? Does that make a difference? Do you have to do brand searches or navigational searches?
Those are the natural ones. Like when I get publicity on a different channel, like television or social, people see that and it converts directly into brand searches for the website and then gets click-through rate. I'd say that's the most common way to get click-through rate via marketing on other channels.
Holly, do you have to use brand searches or navigational searches with your click-through rate micro workers test, or is it knowledge-based searches or sales searches?
So we're doing keywords, and we're making sure it's already in the SERPs of Google and YouTube. If it's not in the search, we are doing, like for YouTube, we're doing the keyword plus the name of the user. If it's in Google, we would do the keyword plus like the website or like the video URL. We're testing all those. I can't report either way what's working for that. I know right now just that the keyword will rank as long as it's searchable.
We used Rainmaker for 4 months doing nothing but brand searches, and that didn't do shit for our rankings. So.
Yeah, I'm afraid I like the creator of Rainmaker. I won't mention his name here. I like the guy a lot. He's well known in the industry, but I haven't seen any good results from Rainmaker. He claims other people do, but of course he's the guy who's selling it. So it's it's take it with a grain of salt. But I like the guy. I mean, no disrespect to him or problems for him, but in testing, I can't say that I've had any positive result with it either.
Yeah. In his defense, he did say that it's for building authority. So the more pages you put on, the more you plug into Rainmaker, it establishes authority of the site, and then eventually that'll lead to rankings. But nobody's got time for that. So
yeah, ain't got time for that. Okay, so somebody says here, Josh, the reason you're associated with Search Console is because SEOs search for you and then by nature search for and use Search Console. I guess so. That's a plausible hypothesis, I suppose.
I searched your name and there's no mention of Search Console anywhere. So
Probably not. It probably said Josh Bachynski illicit dog porn underneath or something like that.
egomaniac.
No. It probably. I was young and I needed the money. Okay, so thanks very much, guys. This has been White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Show. I'd like to thank Clint very much for joining us. I'd like to thank Holly for joining us. I'd like to thank Ted for joining us. If you guys have any questions at all about anything we've talked about today, about the click-through rate tests, if you want to get in on these tests, if you want to try, maybe start using this for your website or checking out how it's going, email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. If you want, if you have more SEO questions, by all means, contact myself at joshbachynski@gmail.com. Or please feel free to contact Clint or Holly. Well, I don't know, Holly, if you want people contacting you, but Clint, I'm sure you might want people to contact you. Do you want to give it your contact information?
Oh, yeah.
I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to get any contacts.
Best place to find me is on Facebook.
Clint, and your last name is, again, Butler, right?
Yep.
Clint Butler on Facebook. Fantastic. Holly, Ted?
Well, if you want to see the stuff I do, check out SEOtoollab.com. Maybe I can get Josh to post a link.
Sure, I could probably do that. Let me see. I'm always like caught off guard when you say that and I have to look for the link.
We'll get it there.
Holly, do you want to just say who you are, or do you want anyone ever contacting you ever?
Yeah, if you want to contact me, be careful. But yeah, you can. It's Holly Starks. Don't tell me your niche because I'll come after you. And I hope you guys come to. I don't like planes, and I'm flying there to see you people. So you people should come see me.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys come out to our conference, White Hat versus Black Hat SEO Show, SEO Symposium at August 27th to 29th. You'll see Holly there. And if you like the tough stuff we talked about today, we're going to go even more in depth and we're biting our tongue the whole show about what we can say and not say. So this is not going to be a recorded event, so we'll go much further, and I hope it'll be fantastic for you guys. So thanks very much, folks. Derek Booth asks, as a final comment, Derek asks, he's also presenting at our conference, by the way. He's a fantastic guy. He asks, Josh, are you not scared Google will read your mail? Derek, Google is already reading my mail, and I am already typing it. If I ever have to maybe buy or links for clients, I'm already typing in like phonetic or like leet speak spellings of links and buy. So in a vain, probably stupid attempt, so Google can't tell what I'm doing for customers. So I'm already wearing the tinfoil hat. I've already gone past. I've sailed past that shore. So I'll cut it off here for today. So thanks very much, everyone, for watching. Again, if you need anything at all, just email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com, and I can even forward you onto these different guys. And as I always say, good luck in the SERPs, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye. Say bye, guys.
Bye bye.